I am Lamont at Large. Today I'm at the Mountain View Cemetery here in Prescott, Arizona. I'm here to visit the grave and ask a question. Who is Little Miss Nobody? On July 31st, 1960, a Las Vegas teacher was walking inside of the Sandwash Creek bed off of Old Alamo Road in Congress, Arizona. He was looking for decorative rock to decorate his landscape back home when he came upon an unusual scene. What it looked like to him from about 50 yards away, an animal that was half buried in the ground, and it appeared that someone had tried to set the animal on fire. As he approached closer, to his shock and horror, it was no animal, but it looked like to him to be a human body. Immediately he called local authorities. Yavapai County Sheriff's Office arrived to process the scene, and it was determined to be a human body. They dug around the grave very carefully to preserve any possible evidence, and they took the body to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy to be done. So let's talk really quickly about the initial findings that were found during the first autopsy. So the medical examiner was able to determine that the body was left out in the elements for 1 to 2 weeks. It was already well into the latter stages of decomposition. However, he was able to determine that the body was that of a child between the ages of 5 and 7. It was a female. Very strong possibility of the female being white. Had all her milk teeth, being of course the first teeth that you get as a toddler. Her nails, toenails and fingernails were both painted bright red. Unfortunately, as of right now, them doing the autopsy were unable to determine her identity. When the body was initially found, she was wearing white shorts with a checkered blouse. She had somewhat unusual slippers on her feet that they were cut to her size. She had brown hair. However, there could have been a possibility that it was either dyed that color or at least tinted. Now, it was determined, even though the state of the body, that this was a homicide. However, there was no broken bones, no known fractures, anything of that kind. Really quickly, I want to talk about the possible identity of Little Miss Nobody. 10 days prior to her body being found, a 4-year-old girl out of Alamogordo, New Mexico was kidnapped from her neighborhood by the name of Sharon Lee Gallegos. Now, investigators on the Little Miss Nobody case say even though the physical characteristics are the same, it is not the same girl. Sharon was 4 years old. Little Miss Nobody, they say that she could be 5 to 7, but now they even say she could be 8 or even 9 years of age. She was wearing different clothing than the clothing that was found on the body of Little Miss Nobody. So I personally don't know why that they don't tie the two together, but I guess simply it's just a coincidence. And this is the grave of Little Miss Nobody. Blessed are the pure in heart. This girl deserves to be buried with her God-given name. And even though the person or persons responsible for this murder are probably dead, no longer on this planet, some people forget, but God don't. Judgment will be cast upon everybody at the end of the day. You better believe that. Payable on death. And as long as I'm alive, I'll never forget. And neither should you. She was not a nobody. She was God's child.